Hi, and welcome to UMASS Beyond The Classroom. I'm your host, Sarah Hernandez, and I'm excited for today's episode. If you're a big sports fan, today's episode is for you. I'm excited to welcome Tim Silvernail, Director of Player Personnel. Welcome, Tim.
Thanks for having me, Sarah.
To start off, we just wondering, what's your favorite NFL team?
So as a kid, I was a big Denver Broncos fan. It's gotten harder now that I have some good friends and some players have been around that are in the NFL. But I'd say at the heart of it, I'm still a Broncos fan.
Interesting. So to get to UMass football, what exactly do you do for UMass football?
So I'm our Director of Player Personnel. So most of what I do has to do with handling our roster. So obviously, we have a number of players on roster, and we have to make sure they meet their compliance terms and everything is all set for them to be eligible to play on the field on Saturdays. But in addition to that, I also do a lot with our recruiting. So I help manage our recruiting database, organize recruiting events, and then make sure that prospects that we're looking at both at the high school level and the junior college level, that they meet the requirements for the transcripts and test scores that they need to be able to play for us and enroll at the university.
Okay, and how did you get to where you are now?
So I started as a student here. I knew I wanted to work in football. I was a sport management major at UMass, and I knew that football was my passion. It's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And I just volunteered in the football office, and eventually it turned into more of a serious internship. And then along the way, I've also had the pleasure of having some great internships with the Philadelphia Eagles and the Philadelphia Phillies, among other organizations. And the experience has really helped round out my resume and get me in a position to earn this role. And it's been a pleasure to be back at UMass.
So it's interesting that you've never played college football. What advice would you give to somebody who's trying to break into the industry who's never played football before?
You know, it's really tough in some ways, but everyone's got a different perspective on things. I mean, guys that played in the NFL, I'm never going to be a giant guy that played in the NFL and can tell you stories about when I won a national championship or when I played for the New England Patriots or some other NFL team. But at the same time, I know what my strengths are and I play to my strengths. So being able to talk about, the school here and be able to relate to the kids, not only in the football realm, because I did play high school football, but being able to say, when I took this class or when I took that class, and as well as just, helping them out along the way and being kind of like an advisor and a mentor to the kids, you can always find other ways to help them out along the way and use your own strengths to make an impact on a football program. It's not just the guys that played on the field.
Right. So now that you've made it here, now that you're in college football, can you tell us some of your career goals?
Well, everyone always wants to win a national championship. It's what everyone wants. Everyone wants that big fancy ring on their finger. But I'd really love to win here at UMass. That we've got a great history here, and I'm here right now. I want to bring in the best players we can and help our players on roster be the best they can on and off the field. And it's also really cool on a personal level to see some of these players. It's great to see a guy like Tajay Sharp tearing it up with the Titans right now. But it's also cool when we had homecoming and a guy named by the name of Vance Barton, who's the long snapper here, came back and told me how he's taking acting lessons and is going on to, this great career and something else. It's really special to be a part of helping those guys along the way. And I think being able to help create successful men and see guys grow up, that's always what I want to see is, everyone we bring in go on to be successful, whether it's on the football field or whether it's just in life somewhere else.
It's so nice to see you being so invested in your position here at UMass. Can you tell us some specific career highlights or anything that has brought to mind?
It's been really cool to I've gotten to be a part of a lot of great things. The first win in FBS history. When we were at Akron as a student assistant here, it was unbelievable. And after being away for a while, being at another university, coming back and winning at McGurk Stadium after we had played at Gillette Stadium for so long. Although I was a part of the Ball State win, to come back and when we beat FIU earlier this year, to me that was really special because these coaches and these players, a lot of them I hadn't seen in a while. The coaches I consider some of my best friends, and the players, when I left, they're these, out of shape, goofy, young kids, and now you come back and they're all ripped up, looking like borderline NFL players and college standouts. It was really special for me to be out there with them, and it's on a personal level, that was really a highlight for me to be back at my alma mater and to win a game here, and hopefully we'll win several more this season, but to be back here and especially at McGurk Stadium in Amherst, meant a lot to me on a personal level.
And if you had a chance to work with an NFL team, who would you want to work with?
You know, it's tough. I mean, to think about it. I mean, there's no team in particular. Obviously, I mean, I love being around home. I love being on the East Coast. But at the end of the day, you know, there's great people I know in a ton of different organizations. You know, some of my best friends are working for the New York Giants right now. I have a close friend working for the Arizona Cardinals. And I look at it more, you know, where the people are and where they go. And, you know, in the football world, it's crazy. People get hired, fired, promoted, demoted like it's no big deal. And you know, I would look to more where the people are more than anything else. So there's no real team in particular I'd love to work for. I mean, but a chance to work in the NFL is something special that not a lot of people get. And so any team that, you know, the opportunity was right for me and I went there, you know, it could be anywhere from coast to coast.
Right. And so if you were playing in the NFL, what position would you like to play?
That's tough. If I were playing in the NFL, I mean, I'm pretty out of shape now, but I played defensive line in high school. I don't think there's a single player in the NFL that would run nearly as slow as I would run right now. But I guess I'd have to say that, or I'd probably play left bench.
And if you had any advice for a high school athlete or a college athlete, what advice would you give them?
For the high school things, the things I always say to a high school kid when they're on a visit or whether it's someone like a friend or family member, I always say, just enjoy it. You know, high school is a special time, especially in your football career. I mean, you talk to guys that are in the NFL, guys that are playing college football at the highest levels, and they'll say the best time of their life was playing high school football because in most cases, it's the kids you grew up with. You played Pop Warner with them or Little League. They were in your middle school, elementary school. You grew up together. And when you go to college, you form unbelievable relationships with people. But at the root of it, you've got to enjoy where you're at right now because any play in football can be your last play. It can be over in a heartbeat. But you need to make sure you always take advantage of the time you're given right now, the opportunities that are presented to you, because you don't know when those are going to run out. And I always try to make sure, I mean, as well as our guys here now, this could all be over tomorrow. Your whole career could come to a horrible stop tomorrow, and you're lucky to have today. So you just have to enjoy it. You have to take advantage of everything that's given to you. Nothing's promised past today when it comes to football. So that's my biggest advice to any player is just enjoy playing with the guys you have right now because, you know, you'll never get that chance again.
And now that you've accomplished so much and you've been through everything and now you're here, can you name one person who's inspired you?
You know, it's tough to pick just one. There's a lot professionally that I could point to, but I think on a personal level, there's quite a few. But the one that sticks out to me is my grandfather. My grandfather played football, basketball, lacrosse at Syracuse and was a tremendous athlete and accomplished a lot there. However, I feel as a man in his personal life, he accomplished even more, always taking care of his family, doing things like leaving the Syracuse football team to help take care of his grandmother. And those were things I always looked up to and felt that if, as a man and as a person, I can be as successful and help out my family and, you know, put my family first like he did, that provides more success both in my career and with my family than, you know, a lot of people I feel like reach, and it's something that I always strive for.
And so are you looking towards anything else in the future? Are you going to stay in football? Are you going to go anywhere else?
You know,
any other sports?
It's crazy how this sports world works. It really is. But at the heart of it, I love football. You know, it was the first sport that I really fell in love with. You know, I can remember watching with my dad, watching with both my grandfathers at different football games, going to games, whether it be a high school game or a college football game as a kid. And, you know, I always fell in love with the game and everything that went with it. So it's my hope, of course, to, you know, work in football for the rest of my life because it's truly what I love and I enjoy doing it. When I go to work, it's not like, oh man, I got to go to work. It's, you know, I'm going to the stadium. I'm going to be around something special.
Right. Well, that's all the time we have for today. I've been your host, Sarah Hernandez, and this is Tim Silvernail. Thank you for watching UMASS Beyond The Classroom.